Today's concept was initially proposed on a Discord server I'm a part of, so I'm gonna read the initial pitch to y'all so we understand what I'm building off of. In the words of the other fellow, I was thinking about dwarves being more inventive than other races when I realized they'd probably invent oil lanterns before anyone else. I then remembered that ancient Egyptians used olive oil lamps to light up their pyramids, so I think having them cultivate olive trees would really add depth to their society. My dwarves would most likely be males going down into the mines, forging stuff and doing everything you'd imagine dwarves do. Meanwhile, females would be working in the vineyards and in the gardens. Fun pitch, but I don't really want to work with olives unless we got pizza to go with it, and we're not gonna be making Italian dwarves today. I'm gonna write that down. And we need to discuss some of the logistics of oil in general. Now, as I'm sure you're aware, there is plant-based oils. Peanut is a fun one. It's real cheap. If you don't have an allergy, I'd recommend it. But then there's also generic vegetable oil made with some other ones, and olive oil, which is made with olives, and olive oil is probably the most expensive of these. It also makes me think of a meme I'm probably showing you right now. There's crude oil, which is one of the greatest discoveries in human history. A lot of our stuff is built on the discovery of crude oil. And there's finally animal-based oils, which can be made from animal fats. One of the most populars in human history was whale oil, though you can make it with just about anything that has fat, and that's probably the easiest to adapt into fancy because ogre oil or dragon oil sounds quite cool on the surface. So let's get to work on our fancy version of these, because the only other real-life point that I could make is this conspiracy theory about oil and why whales don't exist. It's a whole thing. It's a fun one. I sincerely wish I could fit it cleanly into this channel's format. So plant oil, just like the Greeks used to make. So right after that Discord friend mentioned his idea, I suggested not using olives and instead using an underground plant variety that grows in the light of cave crystals. That plan is a little stupid because if we have cave crystals that glow, why not use those crystals for light? So instead, I want you to picture a fruit that doesn't yet exists, about the size of a cherry tomato, but with like a warm green color that grows just a bit and can be found among the caves. This is going to be a poisonous plant that kills, then grows in their rotting corpses. It's a full carnivorous plant. No sunlight, no whatnot. It's just growing inside corpses of those it slays. They grow all throughout the Underdark and are a common cause of monster deaths. Dwarves that kill monsters figured out that they could plant these suckers into any corpse and then cultivate them for oil. Now, as a result, many dwarven areas will offer compensation of 2 flasks of oil or 5 silver pieces for the corpse of monsters and other non-edible game within the world. But I needed to add more to that. So it's a trap. It's a deception that has long been forgotten. There was an ancient, vast civilization of dwarves that used the oil then vanished out of nowhere. The plant can do more than just be harvested and then pressed and then burned. They can explode if exposed to latent magic, which the dwarves eventually discovered at probably the worst time for their civilization to discover it, because everyone had them, and one large wave of latent magic sent out by their enemies, pop, it's all gone. It's all gone. This is somewhat known, but they don't realize just how easy it can be to set it off with the right incantation. So sitting on your lantern is a little notice, a warning not to use it in areas with high ambient magic, as it might grow unstable. Make sure your players are aware of this, and then their oil lamps exploding can be used as a nice little bit of foreshadowing powerful beings that they are moving towards. So then we got crude oil. This is far easier to curse because it is made of long dead corpses. Biology for Dummies, great book, I would recommend it. I managed to get a 51, with a 50 being passing on my college's CLEP test by reading it. Taught me that crude oil originated from large amounts of plant lives, normally swamps or other such things. And I very much like the idea of a plant ghost possessing a bunch of black gunk that is flammable. But we need to give it a little more purpose if we hope for this monster pitch to make any sense. Why is the plant ghost? I think we go for the noble monster path. You know the type. It wishes to protect nature and become a part of nature again, because it was made out of a druid's sacred ground, a sacred grove that eventually became oil, but it still has a will going on. And this isn't some weird environmental allegory, it's just the natural flow of how I'm picturing the magic, the wills, etc. So this large oil beast wants to protect and be a part of nature. So after being discovered, let's say by a group of dwarven miners, maybe a group of elves that are digging down hoping to find a well, maybe humans, probably humans like oil. They discover it, it pops out, it probably destroys some buildings, anything that's not naturally built. It's confused, it's crazy. So it destroys some buildings, it destroys some of this, and it runs into the forest. Now the thing is, once it runs into the forest, it is leaving behind a trail of flammable black liquid that does nothing for nature. And as a result of this very unfortunate reality, their existence is harmful to what they want to be a part of, to what they want to protect. And that sucks for them. So as a result, they need to be dealt with by humans, by druids, by what have you. This can be done easiest through burning, but if you got a powerful druid, maybe you could set the will of the grove to rest. However that will works. Also, at about this point in the scripting, I made a thumbnail and I realized something for the first time. The containers we use to hold vegetable and olive oil is made of plastic, which is also made from oil, but crude oil, and that's just neat. I'm great for parties, I promise. And then we have animal oils. Historically, the most common of these was whale oils because they had a ton of fat, but anything in an icy area tends to have lots of blubber that's good for making it. And all animals have fat, so the only question is how much is available, because making squirrel oil is a very cumbersome, annoying task, while making, say, seal oil probably wouldn't be too horrible because you only need 1 or 2 seals for it. But what's really special about this one is we have a lot of monsters we can work with. If they're magical in nature, it might even come with some neat side effects. For example, I mentioned ogre oil before. Maybe it burns just a bit brighter than more common varieties. Or troll oil. That could be fun, because if their regeneration works for fat, because they have that regeneration trait, a captured troll could be an infinite supply of oil as long as you have the time to process it within your home. Dragon oil, fun little world building thing, might just straight up refuse to burn for the one who killed it, and that would be quite amusing to me, and that would be a fun detail. And all number of alchemists are probably seeking these variations for potion craft. You get the oil of sharpness, which is one of my favorite D&D magic items. Check it out. It makes your sword +2, but only for 15 minutes. It's great. And then you might get some of the other oil varieties. There's quite a few in the DMG. I really would recommend looking through them. Thank you for your time, and here's a bad joke to send you off. How do you turn fat into oil? You boil it.